Labs get through enormous volumes of single-use plastic, and 96 well microplates are a big contribution towards that. They're generally made out of virgin plastic derived from fossil fuels. So should we consider what those plates are made out of? Today we're going to take a look at GreenElephant Biotech and their PLA plates. We'll go through what the product actually is, evaluating their sustainability claims, and understanding how it would perform in a real lab. Hi, I'm Ben Gray, a scientist and founder of Sustainable Steps. For transparency, the product reviewed in this video was sent by the manufacturer, but they have no editorial control over this video. So you're probably wondering what makes GreenElephant Biotech's plates any different. So these are actually made from PLA, or polylactic acid, which is a plant-based biodegradable polymer made by fermenting corn or sugarcane. And most plates that you'll find these days usually derived from fossil fuels. So that's the difference with these plates, is that they are derived and they are plant-based. So we're going to take a look into them now. So as I said in the introduction, they have sent me a little 3-plate pack that they send out for trials purposes. A really good way to test how this works in your own lab. So if we open this up, we can see there that they make a claim of 220 grams of carbon saved for each plate. We'll dive into those sustainability claims later. The first thing you'll see is a few stickers that they provide. So, I mean, if you want to have a look, the first one, change your plates, not the climate. This lab has plant-based PLA plates. Nerd in the herd playing on the elephant there, and green zone behind this door, even the green plastics go. But you're not here for the stickers, you are here for the plates. So if we take these out, so you'll see they come in a little plastic, soft plastic container. And as I said, you get 3 plates for this trial. I have been sent the black ones, which are for the fluorescent-based assays, but they also have clear ones for optical and microscopy purposes and white ones for luminescence assays. Now, all of their plates should be compatible and compliant however your 96 well plates are today. So they are compliant with ANSI/SLAS 1 2004 through to 4 2004 compliant. And if you're worried about your device being particularly compatible, they have a list of equipment on their website ranging from microplate readers to robots and SPR systems, and they tell you if this is compliant with their system. If your instrument isn't on there and you're interested to know, you can do 2 things. You can reach out to GreenElephant and ask about your particular system, or you can get this pack of 3 and trial it in the lab for yourself. For my first look now, I've taken them off, and to be honest, you would have no idea that these are from any different type of plastic. So it is still a plastic in itself, even though it is plant derived. It's just from corn instead of fossil fuels. And when you look and get a feel for these, they are a plastic. So initially you look at this and you think, well, it's a similar thing. In terms of specifications, these are very similar to ones you would expect for a 96 well plate. So the theoretical total volume is 372 microliters per well, with a working volume between 50 and 200 microliters per well. So these are well within your 96 well plate norms, so I can't imagine many of your labs will need adjusting for that. Also, as you would imagine, they stack on top of each other very nicely. Again, what you would expect from a 96 well plate. All very clearly labelled with numbers and letters. So you've got your identification purposes there for your samples. And yeah, really from a first look, it's exactly what you would hope and expect from a 96 well plate. It doesn't feel any different at all. In terms of initial product performance, so there is an article on the website that goes through heat sealing for these that proves that these are effective for 14-day performance with heat sealing at 160 degrees. If heat sealing is something important to you, I would click onto the website and have a read more of the data they have on there. In terms of centrifugation, they have a maximum stated of 4,000 xg. The temperature range between -80 and +40 degrees Celsius, but the important one here is autoclavability is a no for these plates. So if that's an important part of your workflow, these may not be suitable for you, or you may have to look at readjusting your process to remove autoclaving from that. That's the one limitation I can see at this point. Obviously, one of the most important things is optical performance. Now, there's plenty of technical data on the website, so I'd really suggest you take a look at that yourself. But the data that's covered, so for the clear plates, they cover absorbance, fluorescence, protein and DNA adhesion, chemical stability, and biocompatibility. For the black plates, they cover fluorescence of dsDNA and chemical stability, as you would expect. And then for the white plates, they have luminescent signal of ATP concentration and again, chemical stability. But really what I would suggest is have a look at the data that's more specific to you on their website. I did get some feedback from somebody I know in the lab who did test these against some premium products that they have had for actually one of the first generations of these GreenElephant Biotech plates, and they did say they saw a slight difference in background. However, I think it's most important for you to test this out in your own lab. There's only so much data you can get from the manufacturer, from others' reviews. I think the clearest thing for me is get this in your lab, test it in your own processes, and see what comes out the end of it. They are priced as follows, directly off the GreenElephant Bio website. These prices are all in euros. So they either sell them as 25 plates or 100 plates. So for the white and the black, you can get 25 plates for 173 euros. Or for 100 plates, that's 478 euros. Whereas the clear comes in at 87 euros for 25 plates and 282 euros for 100 plates. So they are positioned at the premium end of the market, but they do not outprice the premium end of the market. They really wanted to make sure that they were not adding a, let's say, a green additional cost to what people are using today. So they are price matched alongside the premium end of the 96 well plate market today. So we're now going to talk about the sustainability claims of GreenElephant's PLA plates. So PLA is a renewable, plant-derived and biodegradable polymer. Now, the biodegradable maybe isn't actually that useful in this application, as most of these will likely go to incineration, but the raw material itself will require less energy and less water to produce versus petroleum plastics like are used today. So typically between 25 to 55% less energy use in the production and around 85% less water use than the production of the plastic. So there is an LCA, a life cycle assessment, available on the GreenElephant Biotech website. You do need to enter your email, but it is then instantly downloadable. And the LCA covers cradle to customer plus end of life. So it's essentially cradle to grave, but without the in-use part of the carbon embedded in the use in your lab. So the emission factors have been taken from EcoInvent and GEMIS, which is exactly where you would expect these kind of numbers to come from. So if you look into the LCA, the overall take-home headline result is that there's a 50% reduction in the carbon of these plates versus your typical virgin plastic plate. Now, there's no measurable difference actually on packaging, inbound logistics, energy or distribution and storage, but it scores lower both on the raw material and on the disposal, which is going to be by incineration. Now, they have used a figure here, and they very much make this clear in their LCA, 0.03 kilograms of CO2 for the raw material, and this is including the factor for the carbon that the raw material corn actually takes in during its process. Now, even if you were to use the factor that doesn't take that in, which is 0.12, you've still got a 30% reduction in carbon emissions. So whichever way you look at it, these plates have a really great way of reducing carbon. It is important to note that this LCA doesn't seem to be third-party verified from what I can see on the website. However, all the sources are available for you to read, and everything that I can see looks as I would expect from an LCA like this. GreenElephant do also have a net zero plan, and it's exactly what you would hope and expect for. 50% reduction by 2030 versus their baseline, and a net zero by 2050, which includes a 90% reduction across all scopes, and then utilising permanent carbon removal to get to net zero. The only emission to flag on the net zero plan is that they claim that their upstream and downstream freight, as well as waste related emissions, were excluded due to data availability. Now, I asked them about this and asked if they're looking into getting that data, and they have actually started to track this data for other certifications. And I really hope that this can be part of their net zero plans. As for a company that's selling products like these, it's really important to track your freight carbon as well. So in summary, today 96 well microplates are mainly made out of petroleum-based virgin plastics, and GreenElephant Biotech are offering a solution to that with their plant-based PLA plates. They should perform exactly like your plates today. There's data on the website that I suggest you check which one's important to your uses, which shows equivalency to other plates out there today. And the best thing is to test it in the lab yourself, so you know for your processes, for your experiments, that these will do the job. You can do that by getting the 3 trial pack, which is exactly what I would suggest every lab to do. And at the end of the day, if they're giving a 50% carbon reduction and it's a like-for-like swap, these things are an absolute no-brainer for me. The only limitations that I see are these are not autoclavable, as we discussed earlier. So if that's part of your process, or if your temperatures exceed 40 degrees, then these may not be suitable for your use. And as I said, my call to action is very much that you should get a trial of these. Get the trial pack, try them in the labs yourself. If you do request a trial, please do mention sustainable steps so we can really have a good track of how impactful these videos are. And if you found this video useful, please drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos where we will review products to help make your lab more sustainable. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.